Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is right around the corner, and we've got the early access and open beta dates if you feel like checking it out. But with some big changes coming to Game Pass, who's going to have access?
We've also got a ton of new releases to talk about. Which game should you check out this week? We'll let you know. All this and so much more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly. We're back. We are the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, you can find us on YouTube, Fruit Lab, and podcast services everywhere. We're bringing you all the biggest things happening in the video game industry. My name is Erock the Red, joined every single week by Full Clip here. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Hey, what's going on? Doing pretty good. It's good to be back. I'm sure somebody out there really missed us for these past 2 weeks where we took a little bit of a break.
I hope at least one person. But
yeah,
I mean,
what were we going to do? There's no news. It's the dog days of summer.
It worked out, dude. It was very little. It was the perfect time for a little vacation because there was not much to talk about. And it was nice. Yeah, it was. I went, had a nice trip to Maine. Have you ever been to Maine?
No.
No. I like that you nodded and said no. It confused me. But yeah, it's very nice up there, you know, by the ocean, a lot of seafood and stuff like that. It was a relaxing trip. I got a lot of video game time in, which was nice.
That's what it's all about.
You don't always get that. Yeah, but it was relaxing by the ocean with my Steam Deck. It was a perfect experience. You getting any games the last couple of weeks?
I actually did. I got to play something that's been on my wish list for a while, and we talked about it during the Steam summer sale. I picked it up for just a few dollars, I think. It was American Trucker Simulator, or American Truck Simulator.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic. Only a couple bucks. Was it worth those $2 or $3 that it cost or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would have put more time into it if I had the time to spare, but I probably did 18 hours worth so far. And that's a lot compared to what I've been able to put into any game in the last little while. It's one of those games where they can give away the base pack because once you start playing it, you're going to want all these DLC packs.
Sure.
Because they add all these states with the crazy weather. And standalone, though, I've not played any of the DLC so far. It's been interesting. And I'm playing it on Steam, so I've got access to the workshop and some mods. I haven't done anything too crazy that's like going to keep me from getting the achievements and stuff, but I added like the improved weather mod and also real companies mod. So now instead of generic things, I'm stopping at the Walmart and I'm picking up salt and I'm taking it to like Target for some reason. But
that's great.
It is a little bit more immersive when you're out on the road. You pass like Coca-Cola trucks and all kinds of stuff.
That's cool.
Like that.
Do you see yourself getting like the whole setup, like the big wheel and the pedals and stuff like that, and the shifter? You're gonna get that?
I don't think so. I'm not that into the simulation part. Steering these trucks is a pain in the ass, and this is not like a world that's been modified to be friendlier for big trucks. This is very much a small four-wheeler car world that you have to maneuver these trucks in and out of.
Nice. Do you feel like you can drive a truck in the real world now?
No. So I was a diesel mechanic for like 6 months of my senior year in high school. And not that I did a lot of like engine work and things like that, but I did a lot of servicing and maintenance on 18-wheelers. And those things have like 12 to 14 gears or something in them. It's insane. Like in diesel engines, it's a whole other ball game when you're used to like gasoline.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to start when driving a semi-truck.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to check that out. It always looked interesting. So I I got a lot of games to talk about. I'm going to go through them fairly quickly because we have a lot to talk about. So while on vacation, I tackled some of my backlog. I played a game called Nobody Saves the World, and it's like this cute little role-playing game where you switch between like different class types. That was a lot of fun. I'm almost done with that one. I played a new to me, Card Battler Vault of the Void. It's like it's right up there with the classics. I'm a big fan of that one. That one's a lot of fun. Played some of that Stray Gods role-playing musical. So yeah, those are some of the ones I was tackling while on vacation. Also, I tried Zenless Zone Zero. I thought this was going to be for me. I was looking forward to it the whole time. It just came out like, I think it's been 2 weeks now. And it's for mobile and PlayStation, so I had it on both, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I could play it on the go and that sort of thing. And I started playing it, and I realized these type of games, whereas I love the visual style of them and the characters and stuff like that, the games aren't for me. I realized it just the other day. I was like, yeah, it's like one of those gacha games, and I just don't have. I don't know. I got a lot of games I want to play, and I don't want to just focus on just this one. It takes a lot of time. And then also the gameplay was a little bit repetitive, so it was just doing the same thing over and over again. All right, moved on. Didn't play that one. So I was like, well, let me try this other new one, The First Descendant. You hear about this one? It's like a free-to-play.
I keep seeing advertisements everywhere.
Yes. Me too. That's what I was like, well, let me look into this. Let me check it out. And it's very reminiscent of like Destiny. It looks a lot like, we have Destiny at home type situation. But it's a free to play and it's a cooperative game. You just go in and get all the loot and that sort of thing. And that I'm a fan of. That I'm going to stick with. It's the worlds look great. The characters are cool. And the cycle of it, the hook is enjoyable. So you go, you play more, you get stuff to upgrade or new stuff, and then you want to play more, and you go kill more things and go loot more dungeons, that sort of thing. That's a great game. And then the Concord beta was this past weekend, so I was able to try that. This is another one of the hero shooters coming out this year, in the year of the hero shooter. So I tried it and I enjoyed it. I had fun playing it. The style of it is kind of like, I don't know, it's really like muted, really like a Wes Anderson, like a sci-fi Wes Anderson movie. And as I'm playing it, I'm having fun with it. The only thing I kept going back to, I was like, man, this is this is reminding me of like Overwatch or whatever. So I'm playing it and I'm just like, man, I think I just want to play Overwatch. Like it was doing it, and it wasn't. I kept saying like it's not doing it as well as Overwatch did it. These type of characters. So then I downloaded Overwatch 2, and I played some of that the last couple of days. And as much crap that I give that game and how dirty they did everybody by switching to Overwatch 2 and getting rid of the PvE that everybody was promised and all the microtransactions, it's such an amazingly made hero shooter. The balance, all the characters are so cool, and now you don't have to pay for the new characters. They're all unlocked for everybody as of, I don't know, a couple months ago. So I was able to try out some of the new characters, and I'm like, man, I think I'm going to stick around for a little bit, at least until that Marvel Rivals comes out, which looks a lot like Overwatch as well. So that has been a lot of fun. And then I went on Game Pass, and I was checking out all the new games there. We're going to talk about a bunch of them in our new releases. One of them that we're not going to talk about came out a couple weeks ago, a game called Flock. I've been playing that with my son. It's kind of like you just fly around on this bird, and you go collect these different weird-looking other bird species and stuff like that. So that has been really enjoyable. He's having a blast playing that. And then well, yeah, I'll talk about some of the other ones in our new releases. You ready to move on?
Let me ask you one question about The First Descendant.
Let's hear it.
So as a free-to-play game, there's always the hook of the microtransactions or some sort of monetization worked into it. So is that something that you see in the future, like hindering progress or being necessary to kind of have fun?
No. that was one of the first things I looked into with it. And you can, and I plan on entirely playing it free. I'm not going to pay for anything. It looks like any of the things that you do pay for are just cosmetic. So you can absolutely go through and play it for free, awesome. It seems, without being hindered or being left behind. So maybe, more grind, obviously, but that's what those games are about, specifically even free-to-play games, but that looter shooter style of game. It's all about the grind, going and do the dungeons over and over again and that sort of thing, getting more and more stuff. So
because when you put free to play and looter shooter in there, I start thinking like, to upgrade this piece of armor, you're going to need 1,000 soul gems, and you can only buy that for $9.99.
Exactly. Yeah. No. As much as I didn't play. I only played a few hours of it, and it doesn't look like it will. It will be that way. So I'm hopeful.
Good deal.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about our new releases from last week. All right, first up, Nobody Wants to Die came out July 17th on PS5, Xbox S, X, and PC. This is a sci-fi detective story. It's like this retro future world. It's like 2300 something, but the world looks like it's from like the 1940s. Everybody's got like, classic cars. They're dressing like, mob guys and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you play as this detective and you're investigating, crimes, murders. You use tools to investigate. And the game's pretty linear. It's just telling a story. But one thing that really drew me into this one is how gorgeous it looks. It's done in Unreal Engine 5, and it is a beautiful looking game in a really, really cool looking world. So this one is on my wish list. What do you think of that?
And it's very much like that cyberpunk aesthetic. And in some of the trailer, it almost looks like you're in the same world as Cyberpunk 2077. Although this one's a little, Cyberpunk 2077 is probably the closest thing to this that I've seen. And I'm glad that the genre is expanding beyond that, because I think that's pretty much everybody's first like AAA experience with the cyberpunk setting, and this is probably the biggest thing that's come along in that setting since. So I'm kind of excited about this, and at the same time, it's cool that it's going back to like it's combining it with that noir style, the film noir, detective kind of thing. So L.A. Noire, the game that from Rockstar back in the day that I think everybody's been asking for a sequel to. Yeah. You're just mashing that up with Cyberpunk, and this looks like something special.
Right. Yeah. It's got some really cool like story points too, where like when you die, you go into a different body and that sort of thing. So it's a very cool idea, and it's only about 10 hours. I hear it's a nice tight story that you could finish in 10 hours and enjoy. All right, next up, Dungeons of Hinterberg came out July 18th on Xbox S and X and PC. This is day one on Game Pass. This is another one that I did get a chance to try, but very briefly. I only got to play maybe about an hour or so before we recorded today. It's an action role-playing game. It's set in like the Austrian Alps, and it's just you do a bunch of puzzles and you go in these dungeons, and that's the role-playing game aspect of it. But then there also has this social kind of sim aspect of it after that, where you got to hang out with different people to get buffs. I've seen people describe it as like Zelda and Persona kind of mashed up together, which is what drew me in. It was pretty much that like one like quote, and they're like Zelda and Persona. I'm like, this sounds amazing. So I got in and checked it out. It's this beautiful like kind of cell shaded like animation style. And I'm excited to get in there more and check out more of that. It's at an 82 on Metacritic. So, so that one looks interesting.
The visual style of this one really does appeal to me. It's like you said, the cell shading. It's reminiscent of like Borderlands, but this is the clean version, whereas Borderlands is always like very dirty and gritty.
Absolutely. Good point. Yeah. All right, another one on Game Pass, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn came out July 18th on PS5, Xbox S, X, and PC. This is a action role-playing game. It's like Souls-ish. I saw it described as kind of like a nice like entry level into the a Souls-like genre. But it's like there's this character, Nor, and she like does this melee. She's got axes and stuff like that. And then there's like this character, it's like a fox god. I think it's like Inky is his name. I'm trying to remember. And yeah, so you got Nor, who's got like axes, and she's got a flintlock firearm, which is, you know, why it's called what it is. And then the fox god does like magic and helps to support you and does that. And that's like the gameplay. You got your two styles of fighting. Everything I'm hearing about this one, I haven't gotten a chance to try it out yet, but it is on Game Pass, so I will. Is that it's just kind of, what do the kids say? Mid. It's mid. So.
Yeah, honestly, when I started watching the trailer, bad. I wasn't expecting much out of this, but another one where we're talking about like visual style, I want to play this on like the best possible experience possible. So if I had like a really ripping GPU in a computer or something like that, it looks like this game would be amazing just in that aspect alone during these fights.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it looks beautiful. So that one's on my list of to play. It's one that I don't, if it wasn't available on Game Pass, I don't know if I'd be seeking it out. But just because it is available and it looks somewhat enjoyable, I'll give it a shot. I'll try it out. All right, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition came out July 18th. This is just like speedrunning classic NES games. There's 13 NES games and then 156 micro game trials within those games. So it's basically like, you know, how long does it take to beat the first level of Super Mario, or, you know, get the first mushroom and that sort of thing. So it's all just speed running and getting the online rankings, you know, or there is like a couch competition, so you could pass the controller around with friends and try to get the best scores. So, but it is just getting the scores that you know, the fastest score for this particular trial. It's interesting. Yeah. I'm not really into the speed running. I don't think I'm that good at anything that I would be like, you know, up there. But I like retro stuff like this, especially the mini game style thing.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be setting any records, but yeah, we've talked about this one a few times and talked about some of the game modes. And one of the interesting ones to me is like the Battle Royale mode, where it's almost like your Tetris 99 and the other 99 series they made over on the Switch. Where you're going to be battling like the ghosts of other players, and you know, if you're not going fast enough, they're going to start eliminating the slowest players during these speed runs.
Yeah, that is cool. I think that would probably be my most enjoyable experience out of it, just to see, because that one you can see how far you get. You know, you see maybe a little bit of improvement as opposed to seeing like, okay, I'm never going to be in the top 10 or whatever in these other ones. The other online mode, it's like, I think it's a random assortment maybe of like 10 different game trials, and it's random. So it's like, and it's your combined score on all of those. And I think that's pretty cool too. So I think they did a good job with that one. All right, next up, Skim came out July 18th on like every console. This one, when it was first announced, I think both of us were kind of like really intrigued by it. It has a real promising idea where it's this simple looking art style, and you can only go from shadow to shadow in this world. And it's just, it looked really cool and promising. But everything I've read about it is that first hour, it's fun, it's interesting, and then it instantly gets really repetitive, almost to the point where it's annoying. So I'm just like, oh, that's a bummer. Like that, you know, they didn't give it enough, I don't know, enough to make it have that staying power. But you know, I'll wait for a sale. I still want to check it out just because I do love platformers, and this is an original idea. You know, it's definitely a little different than things we've seen before.
Yeah, it's definitely like an original style of play. I've never seen anything quite like that. So, I mean, the mechanics don't seem too crazy, but you're jumping around to these shadows, and then some of the shadows are like almost devices, so a launcher and things like that. But one thing that I picked up from this trailer that I didn't previously about this game is that they're also going to be kind of telling a story along the way. Mm-hmm. So they show you like in the shadow of a couple of friends walking down the road together, walking down the sidewalk, and you're just kind of along for the ride, but you're going to be observing these stories playing out as you go.
Yeah, that's cool too. I like that. It's set in like a Dutch like village or whatever. So yeah, it's on my wish list. We'll check it out at a low price.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, one people have been waiting a long time for. EA Sports College Football 25 came out July 19th on PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. 11 years people have been waiting for a new college football game. So there was a dispute back in, would have been 2013, between basically saying that you can't compensate the college athletes because it's illegal, but they needed compensation to have their likeness in this game and that sort of thing. So it ended. They're like, all right, well, we're just not going to make it. There was a trial maybe about 2 years ago where they determined that it's okay. So we got the game. Each player that wants to be included in the game got $600 in a copy of the game. And so now we've got EA Sports College Football 25, and it has been selling like crazy. So there was an early access bundle where you could get, it was $100, got you into the game, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks earlier or whatever. 2.2 million people paid that $100 to get in the game a little bit sooner. Crazy. And then I was reading that like GameStops have been selling out of Xbox Series S's because people have been buying them because it's the cheapest entry into this series that like didn't have a system. So they're buying that and they're selling out. You can't get an Xbox Series S because people are buying it so they can play college football. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
was EA's sports title like this formerly the NCAA like 2023 or whatever?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And it's pretty crazy. There's, it's just basically, it's not Madden with like a college football paint over it. Obviously it's going to have similarities, but this has a ton of its own modes. Dynasty mode, like Road to Glory. You could build your ultimate team where it's like you're having more of a coaching thing on it. But then on top of that, it's got like all the college traditions where like, the team runs out through the thing and the marching band and the cheerleaders and all the different colleges. So each stadium will be in it and stuff like that. So, it's cool if that's your thing.
Yeah, it looked like there was some zaniness with like mascots and I think somebody riding a motorcycle or something on the field. So I'm wondering if maybe breaking away from that NCAA part in the title allows the developers to get a little more free with it, because the NCAA, as we know, is a organization that kind of likes to smell of its own farts and definitely did not want those players to be compensated. Although $600, I'm going to say I would like to see some sort of performance bonus going to these players on top of that $600 if they sell 2.2 million pre-orders.
Right? Yeah, crazy, dude. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, give them another $400, make it an even G for each one of them. But yeah, very cool. Go out there and play some college football. All right, and then last up, Kunitsu Gami, Path of the Goddess came out July 19th. This is Capcom's newest game. It's on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, XS, and PC. This is the other one that I got to spend some time with. It's day one on Game Pass. And this one I was drawn in because of, initially I remember when they first showed the trailer and you couldn't tell what it was at all. And it just looked weird and trippy and very, very, very Japanese. So I'm like, let me check it out. And then I started reading that it's an action like strategy game, and it's like an action tower defense game where you basically you have to cleanse these villages of a defilement, and it's like this weird, I don't know. It's very weird. The whole thing is weird. I'm gonna see how many times I say weird in my little review here. But it's got a cycle, a day-night cycle. So during daytime, you're preparing the whole area. You got to get these villagers, you give them weapons, you give them powers, and you can move them around. And that's your tower defense type aspect of it. And then the nighttime comes and all these super weird and very creepy creatures come through this gate, and you have to kill them, and the villagers have to kill them, and then make it to daytime, and then move forward, try to get through the gate. And it might take a couple day-night cycles to get through. But I played a couple hours, and I love this game. It's so different from anything I've ever played. It looks amazing. It's very weird, and it's I don't know. It's just so original that and then the way that it's done, it's just all done really well. And then on top of that, just having this gorgeous style, it's an A+ for me. I've never given a game a letter rating before ever, but I'm only a couple hours in, so I'll get back to you.
Yeah, you were thinking tiers, like A+ tier, S tier, double S.
It's not S tier yet, but it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of tower defense games. It's unlike any which I enjoy, and there's a lot of different versions of those out, but this one it's cool. It's interesting, and more people should check it out, and more people can because it's on Game Pass, which is nice. Speaking of Game Pass, let's move things along to our news of the week. All right, our top story. Some big changes coming to Game Pass. Now, this all worked out for me. So as of, I had to wait 2 days ago, my Game Pass expired, and I was able to do the conversion trick. Now, it's not as good as it used to be, where you buy Game Pass Core or it was Xbox Live Gold. But what I did, I bought 3 years of Game Pass Core from CD Keys, $40 a year. And once you then convert that, so you buy those 3 years, you put them in your system, and then you buy a month of Ultimate. And it converts everything you have to Game Pass Ultimate. And now it converted it to 2 years. So I have it until August of 2026. I'm locked in for only for $120. So not bad. I don't know how much longer you'll be able to use that conversion trick, but for $120 for 2 years of quality games, hopefully we'll continue to get quality games on there. I'm happy, and a lot of it was really because that's where my son plays Minecraft through Game Pass. I never bought Minecraft, which I should have when it was on sale for $20. But instead, I'm like, all right, I'll keep paying for Game Pass until you get sick of Minecraft. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, but you're going to want to keep it anyway, right? Because how much stuff is there on Game Pass?
Oh, man. Yeah, so much. And we're going to talk about it. So, all right. So changes to Game Pass. First up, they're getting rid of the Game Pass for console. That has been closed down for any new users. They no longer sell that. And I didn't even really know what that is. So I was like, all right. I'm like, I have a console and I have Game Pass, but what do I have? And then I was like, oh no, I have Game Pass Ultimate, which is different. Game Pass for console is something different. So that's done. And they're going to introduce a new Xbox Game Pass like standard mode, and that's more like the EA Access, which includes Xbox back catalog, doesn't include any day one games. This will be $14.99 per month, and will also include Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer. It doesn't include Xbox Cloud Gaming, and that's supposed to come out in September. So the only difference is no day one, no cloud gaming, and that's $14.99. And then Game Pass Ultimate is not going to be changed in any way, but it will get a price increase. So it's going up to $19.99 per month. PC Game Pass is getting a price increase from $9.99 to $11.99 for PC, and that will still continue to get day one games. So that seems to still be the way to go if you have PC and you want to play Game Pass on there. $12 for day one games is a fantastic price. And then Game Pass Core, which is the one where it's like a set number of games. You're not getting any one games. You're not getting like the new ones every month. But that is going up in price from $59.99 to $74.99. But it'll stay, if you want to pay by the month, it'll stay $9.99 a month. And those are all, U.S. prices, so you can go and see what it means for you if you're outside the country. And for people that are signed up now, people have recurring billing. The new prices will take effect September 12th. So that's when the pricing is going to change. So, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
We've talked in the past about how kind of convoluted this whole structure already was. And I don't think this did much to help that situation at all. I'm not sure why we can't have something simple. Like, here's Game Pass Standard with everything you just said, and then Game Pass Ultimate. And, like, you choose which one you want, regardless of if you're on console, PC, whatever, and we just understand in the fine print that the catalogs for each of those are just a little different. I feel like there just needs to be a little bit of just boil this down, make it a little bit easier for everybody. I'll even take like the price increases, because we've talked before about the last price increase of like $1 or $1.99 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's still like a really good value for the money. And I think even with this extra little hike, we're probably there. Like, I don't want to see it go any higher, but it seems like it's a fair price.
I agree. And I think it's basically now, instead of being that, I mean, before when it was cheaper, it was an amazing service where it was like that, that Netflix for games. And now I think the mentality needs to be, do I want to own my games, or do I want to, basically just get them from a service? And if I want to get them from a service where, like, you got the people that just play, Black Ops or, a sports game. And now you can buy those, $70 each title, if you want those two for a year, or you can buy Game Pass. And in addition to getting those two games, you're getting hundreds of other games, but you're not owning it, So I think that's how you could look at it that way, where it's still a great value. So I do think that it's definitely getting up there in price. I don't want to see it much higher, but I mean, we said it when they announced that Black Ops 6 is going to be day one. I think you and I were both like, price increase is coming,
Yes.
Because the other alternative is to pay $70 for Black Ops, So we'll see. One issue, and it's drawn the ire of the FTC. They're still a little upset about the merger and how it all shook out. So they've been, making some waves talking about this change and how they kind of said, this is what we were trying to stop. We told you this was going to happen. One thing, so they filed a letter with the U.S. Court of Appeals. The FTC said Microsoft's actions are inconsistent with what the firm had previously said about price increases, and that it is exactly the sort of consumer harm from the merger the FTC has alleged. So, I mean, they did say that. They said this exact same thing was going to happen, and they argued against it. But, I don't know. It's hard to, in a world where, like, everything is going up in price, it's hard to say, like, this is because of that merger. This could just be because of anything. So, I don't know. And it sucks that it's going up in price, but the quality, hopefully, will still remain. That's the flip side of it, that the price would go up and the quality would come down. And the quality is still there as of now.
Still getting AAA titles day one. A lot of indie titles that people want to check out day one. I mean, it's just a pretty good deal, I think. I know that a lot of people are just adamantly against it because they do want to own their games, preferably probably physical, but you can't do that anymore for the vast majority of games. But still, I think it's a good way for you to sample those games, and you own them for like a year or so until they're sometimes taken off of the service, at which point you're going to get a massive discount if you want to continue to own that game. And as long as you're doing it through Xbox, all your progress is still going to carry over. So I think it's like a win-win-win situation in that case. You're going to save a lot of money doing it in the long run if you're the type of person who likes to play a variety of games.
Yeah. And I'm very happy that I will just have Black Ops 6 the day it comes out. Now, normally I play it on PlayStation, so that's going to be a little bit of a change doing that. But I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to spend the $70 because, like I said, I'm paid up for a couple years, and I'll get the next few Call of Duties just because I have the service. So It's exciting, So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it keeps the same standard. But as we saw in the new releases, they're getting some great day one games on the service. So I'm in for a while. All right, well, we're talking about Black Ops and Game Pass. We got to mention the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta dates have been announced. So they said the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 multiplayer beta gives fans hands-on with the incredible new Omni movement system and other gameplay innovations across a variety of brand new core maps. Lets them build their own loadouts, access a variety of weapons, equipment, and perks, and drop in across a number of modes. So it's going to be 2 weekends. Weekend 1 is available to players who have pre-ordered the game across all platforms, as well as Game Pass subscribers. And it's set to begin Friday, August 30th, and end Wednesday, September 4th. And then weekend 2 will be an open beta. That's for all players on all platforms, as well as Game Pass subscribers. And that will be Friday, September 6th until Monday, September 9th. So it's not far off, man. We're about a month away from getting a taste of Black Ops 6. So hopefully it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Where are you at on this? How are your expectations?
I'm not hyped like I have been in the past for new Call of Duty, and especially like new Black Ops. But I do look forward to playing it. I look forward to it. I'm just not. I don't know. It's probably more so in part of not having a lot of time to play games and stuff like that. So I'm just not as hyped right now about new things coming out.
Yeah, I always enjoy the Treyarch Black Ops games. I'm a little nervous, skeptical about the movement system, because usually that's like a make or break thing. If you got people that are, younger and more nimble and can figure that out, they're all over the place, and I'm just still sliding in one direction. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and but I do think it's an awesome factor there that if you are a Game Pass subscriber, you're getting that early access as if you've pre-ordered the game. Because in the past, it wasn't like that. It's like you got to put that money down, and you usually maybe even have to pay a little more to pre-order it to have access to that early access multiplayer beta. That's nice, because I think they're realizing that a lot of people are just going to be playing this through Game Pass. And we're not going to have to go out of our way to pre-order it as a $70 standalone game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it works out. All right. Next up, some exciting news. Bethesda officially becomes the first Microsoft game studio to fully unionize. So they are now a wall-to-wall union across the board with 241 developers. So that's pretty cool. They, senior system designer Mandy Parker said in a statement, she said, "We are so excited to announce our union at Bethesda Game Studio and join the movement sweeping across the video game industry. It is clear that every worker can benefit from bringing democracy into the workplace and securing a protected voice on the job. We're thrilled to get down to brass tacks and win a fair contract, proving that our unity is a source of real power to positively shape our working conditions, our lives, and the company as a whole." So so that's next. They got the union all in place, and now they got to negotiate a contract. So hopefully, hopefully all goes well for them, and they get that money.
And
we'll see.
how necessary does this seem after we spent 3 years talking about all of these layoffs and the shady, shitty industry that video game development has become?
Yep.
People
and
need
now,
some protection. They need some bargaining power.
Yeah. Especially, that, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it or what, but now that they're under Microsoft, absolutely, you got to be, because we've seen what Microsoft has done with some of these studios previously. So, yeah, they should. I mean, if they should all unionize every single one of these that was part of this merger, because we talked about it just recently with the studios that were closed and all the people that go. So, hopefully it works out for them. All right, next up, Halo, the TV show, has been canceled after 2 seasons at Paramount Plus. I know you're a big fan of this show. You're a super fan. You wanted more Master Chief sex scenes, you kept saying. You had that online petition. What are your thoughts?
With my entire 1 episode down, I've still got a little to go, but I am heartbroken, as of course.
Yeah, I mean the writing was on the wall. It was a very high budget show. It wasn't really well received, and then it's at Paramount Plus, who are having their own financial issues right now too. So it just kind of seemed like it was going to happen. Now they did say that they're shopping it around to some of the other streaming services, so maybe someone will pick it up and it won't be the end, but I doubt it.
Right. I think people were surprised genuinely when they got a season 2, but I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, because there's always potential. It's Halo. How bad can you do it? And I mean, they kind of showed us, but it's kind of okay with me if they get a second season. Maybe they can turn that around, and maybe this would have been a whole different conversation right now, and we would have been clamoring for season 5, 6.
Right.
But
yeah, exactly.
I guess not.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, a video game show that has done it right, Fallout. The Emmy nominations just happened last week. Fallout received 16 Emmy nominations for a loser video game show. Yeah, look at them. Now, between The Last of Us and Fallout, video games are doing it. It's pretty cool. So, and that's including so that's got a nomination, not even just for makeup and design and stuff, but best drama series. So it's right up in there, against Shogun and The Crown. So we'll see. I don't know if it's going to beat either of those, but it's pretty cool just to have been nominated.
Yeah. And so season 2, there's definitely going to be some hype around that and a lot of high expectations. I hope that they bring another season 1 worth of entertainment out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Walton Goggins got a nomination for Best Actor. So, good for him. He was great in that show. I mean, he's great in everything.
He's great in everything, yeah.
Yeah. All right, and last up, real quick, Splitgate 2. You remember Splitgate?
Oh, yeah. Halo with Portals,
so they just Halo with Portals, yeah. They just came out with a cinematic trailer for this sequel, and didn't really show much. I know it upset a lot of people actually, because the idea of it now is that it's like this game show type thing, and all the characters are they fleshed out the characters. They made them kind of silly. Each one has a power, kind of, it's like a hero shooter kind of style to it now. But that's all it really was. We just kind of got behind the scenes, well, not behind the scenes, but just a look at what the idea is. They did say that there will be a playable version at Gamescom. That's in August, so hopefully we'll have some footage from that. We'll be able to see what it's like, because I loved this game. I loved Splitgate. I thought it was fun. It came out at a great time. I think it was right during the pandemic, during lockdown, and I remember putting a lot of time in it. It was very bare bones, and what I remember is that the developers stopped. They killed the game because they wanted to make this version, Splitgate 2, is what they're hoping for. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll be good.
And that, I guess that's what surprises me, because it doesn't seem like that long ago that the first Splitgate came out. I didn't know that it had ended, but most games would have probably just continued to flesh that out in its current form as like a live service game rather than making the sequel. But I guess to have more staying power, I'm assuming that's what the strategy is here by making these characters, by giving some human element to it, because before you might as well have been like crash test dummies with no personalities or anything like that. That just didn't play into the game at all. So it's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, it's definitely more like fleshed out. And I know they got they raised a ton of funding. And once they were able to do that, that was a few years ago, that's when they stopped Splitgate, and they're like, all right, well, let's put this money into something that we want to build this world that we want to create. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I thought it was fun. And there were times when you were playing it and it did feel like it could have used a little bit more, but it was a tight shooter. So I thought that part was great. Hopefully they could keep the whole, the gameplay, the tightness of that shooter there, and then add a few extra things to keep it fresh. And hopefully it'll do well. But I'm looking forward to seeing more, hopefully in the next few weeks. And that is it. You got anything else?
Nothing else.
That is it. All right. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly. It's good to be back, dude. I like talking video games. So I just for the last 2 weeks I pretended to have a show by myself in the bathroom. So this is much more exciting. Please check us out on YouTube at Pop Culture Playground. Subscribe there. You can watch every episode every Monday. You can see the video version with all the trailers and that sort of thing. But if you're on the go, you can always listen to the podcast version anywhere podcasts are found. Just type in GNW and you'll get access to that. Make sure you subscribe there so that every Monday it's fresh, just waiting for you for your commute into work. And then there's a website called Fruit Lab. You could go. We put all our stuff there. It's a cool website where you can earn a cryptocurrency just by watching content there. If you post content there, you get gift cards, sort of thing. So it's a real cool spot. And Game Facts. That's Full Clip's YouTube page, GAMEFAX. Go over there, and maybe there's him driving a semi truck. Who knows? You never know what you're gonna get over at Game Facts. And that's all I got. So you got nothing else? We're shutting it down. All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.